Do you think that it's strange that suddenly we're talking about UAPs and UFOs? I mean, they've changed the name, really, of the UFO, and it's become the unidentified aerial phenomenon. And we've had reports from military and government and scientists. There's a lot of stuff out there at the moment that is questionable. But the curiosity doesn't stop there for me, and it has always been an interest to read about or to investigate, whether it be media stories, movies, or even religions. And I say that because I'm a Christian and I believe what the Bible says about certain things. And I've always wondered about a part in Revelation where it talks about this deception that will deceive the nations, it'll deceive the world. And when I was younger, I thought, how could that possibly be? How could the world be deceived or manipulated even to do or think in a certain way en masse? Well, years later, I witnessed COVID. And I'm not going to share my opinions about that happening, but it certainly did show me that the world will move in a certain direction en masse if manipulated to do so. And so, putting that aside, I've still always had this curiosity, and it started much when I was a child. We all watched ET. I really didn't think much of that even as a child, but when I saw the first satellite, I would have been about 8 years old, laying down on a trampoline in the backyard, and I saw this moving star, and I had no idea what it was. And the neighbour said, "Oh, it's a satellite," and I was like, "What's that?" Didn't really know anything then. This was in the 80s, and so I was fascinated by that, and fascinated by astronauts and space travel and the idea of it. Not that I understood any of it, but I had an interest in it. And now, as an adult, being a Christian adult, studying the Bible, studying humanity, and seeing how the opposition does their work. And what I mean by opposition, I'll say it out aloud. Satan has a program to pursue and a system to pursue, and that would be the beast system. And I think about what the governments are now starting to profess to be real, which is aliens, grey men, green men. I don't know. There's apparently all sorts of stories out there at the moment, and there's going to be, and I said it a while ago, what we're going to see next is a disclosure of a possible alien invasion, and it'll be fake, because no matter what it is or how it's presented, people say Project Bluebeam, um, demons. In my eyes, it's all the work of Satan, and it's all the work to deceive. It's all to deceive you, your family, your friends, the rest of the world, into thinking that there is this higher power, interstellar community that watches over us. Now, it's not, and there is not. And, you know, there's so much deception out there, and I bring this up because deception is, for me, the thing that concerns me the most, because a lot of people are going to make decisions based on what they see and hear through the media and what happens to the markets and how we are moved in a direction to actually accept this. So at this point in my life, I think, well, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen aliens, and I haven't seen these whatever they are, UAPs. And I think, how does it affect me right now? Well, personally, it doesn't, because I manage my world and I think about the things that are happening in my world, which is my family, my work life, my friends, and my walk, most of all, my walk with God. And these are the things I concern myself with. But outside looking in to the things that are currently starting to materialize and show themselves, I think it's a conversation worth talking about. And so this is something that I'll share over time on this channel, I know that it's a pretty freaky subject, and it's probably not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. I'm not here as an influencer or to delude anybody. I'm here to actually talk about things in a community-like way. I'm here to coach people. I'm here to uplift people. But I'm also here to talk about subjects that are actually going to start happening over the coming decades. The conversations that the governments are already having. There's conversations about things that the banks are already having. And the alien disclosure that's starting to occur is a little bit disconcerting. I think, why are they telling us now? What's the government's motivation to be sharing this information so flippantly now? I heard a rumour that in Trump's first term, they didn't disclose this to him until much later in his term. And apparently, this is why the lockdowns actually happened. I don't know if any of that's got any weight to it, you know, but some things are true and some things are not. And then later on, we find out that it was all true. And then we go, oh, yeah, we knew that. But really, no one did anything about it. And how does it really affect anyone's life? So we've got to have logic and reason in anything we're doing. I'm just going to enjoy my hot chocolate. It's pretty good. It's literally just cocoa. It's good. Anyway. So these are subjects that I'll bring up, not to, bring fear or to be, what's the word? I'm not going to do this to scare people or to manipulate people or to sell anything or to, I don't do things like that. But it's a conversation. And I think that we, as Christians, need to be awake to it. And the problem for me is that some Christians think this is total lunacy, and that's okay. But there are things that are going to deceive the nations, and these things are going to start occurring pretty soon. There's things that are happening now that are written already, and we know that. And the alien deception, to me, will be a demonic deception. The beast system will be introduced. The tokenization of everything will be introduced. The beast monetary system will be introduced. And there's figureheads already in the communities that we could almost say, oh, is it them? I'm not pointing any figures, but let's just take a look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk has cars that are electrified, that are connected to the internet. He has Starlink that connects us to the internet. And he has boring companies that bore holes into the ground to connect us again. But it's almost like he's building this ecosystem to wrap around the world. And now, in the later years of his business, he started doing Neuralink. Now, lots of people speculated about Neuralink. It's a technology that's a brain implant, and it's connected to the internet. So, and what else is happening on the internet? Well, AI, blockchain, all these things are starting to become mechanized through our monetary system and the way we use technology and the way we work even. And I think, well, someone like him could very well be like an antichrist beast master, I guess. He's set up this system in the world that could be very highly connected, and we could be, he's got an X payment system coming. The guy, you could almost say, wants to dominate the world if you're a crazy person. Do I think it's Elon Musk? I don't think so, but I'm not closed to the idea. There's a lot of things out there to distract us and deceive us. But what I do think, as a Christian, it's a really good hot chocolate, is that when the beast system comes, the Christian isn't going to be here. So I sound the alarm on these matters because as a Christian, I'm called to do that. And I believe what will happen is something really big. So one of those things could be a fake alien invasion or a war, a massive war. You know, I think sometimes that the war of Ezekiel 38, it's chapter 38 in the Bible, Old Testament, it speaks about the nations coming against Israel. And the nations that get hammered pretty bad out of this is because of what God does. Everyone will know it was him. But in that same happening, I think it's possible that the rapture may occur and the Christian will be lifted from the planet into this next revelation or translation to dwell with Christ. And I have my reasons around that theologically. Whether you're a Christian and you want to talk about that, great, but I'm not going to sit here and argue about it in comments. Happy to even have a conversation with it live on YouTube or whatever people do with YouTube. But I do think that it'll be a simultaneous happening where Satan engages the earth with his fallen angels, these people that are thrown down to earth. They're no longer in control of the airways. And they pursue the Christian, or the Jew even, and sets up his kingdom here on earth, this beast system. So I do believe that there'll be a catalyst to this. And I think possibly after this great happening, where the church is gone, it'll be portrayed as an alien, what do they call it? Abduction. And the demons will be roaming this earth in whatever figurehead they portray. But there'll be some sort of alien manifestation out of all this. And I think that's how it's going to go down in the 7-year tribulation. I believe we're very close to that. That's why I'm talking about it. I don't think this is 20 years from now or 30 years from now anymore. I think this is actually something that could happen in the next decade. I'm not saying it will, but it's possible. But people go, oh, well, why do you bother doing this? Why do you bother trying to build a kingdom yourself for your family? Or why do you bother trying to build generational wealth? Or why do you bother doing this or that? It's like, well, I'm here to occupy. And it's possible I'm wrong. Maybe I've read something wrong in the Bible. It's not right, you know. I'm not close to the fact that I can be wrong. I'm wrong very often. So, but it's always been my ideas around it. If you think this is something worth talking about, like and subscribe. But also, I'm happy to hear people's opinions and connect with people around this subject, and here, even have them partner with me to talk about these things in a community way. So I actually don't know how to do that yet on YouTube, but it is something that I would like to talk about with greater conclusions and even some evidence-based things that have happened around the planet, with governments, with decisions that are being made, and with what is currently being disclosed. Like I said before, there's governments that are talking about this now. There's pilots that are talking about this, and there's also scientists that are now talking about it. Whether these scientists are credible in their qualification, I don't know. You know, there's there's a lot of manipulation in media. And I think that's why I'm asking the question, why are they talking about it now? What is so significant about it? And what are they preparing us for? Is that something that's happening? But I'm not sitting here in fear thinking, oh, we're doomed, the aliens are going to invade, or nothing like that. I'm not worried about aliens. Anyway, it's a great conversation, and I'm always open to the talk. If you're interested in it, I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any types of evidence around UFOs or UAPs, love to hear from you. There's lots of people on the YouTube out there that talk about this stuff, and I'm probably watched all the same stuff as you, so don't send me links. But if you've got any research of your own, happy to share.